Good morning, everyone. If you can hear my voice, can I hear you say Memphis? Let's try it again. Memphis. Awesome, awesome. And we love our city indeed. I'm Patricia McKinney, and I am the Director of Small Business and Member Programming with the Greater Memphis Chamber. And we are so pleased to have you here for Built to Last. And this is the Masterclass series. And for the past 4 years, we've been partnering with Society of Entrepreneurs. So I'm going to give a shout out to Pearson Crutcher. Thank you so much for your partnership. And you will see on the tables, there are packets of seeds courtesy of Society of Entrepreneurs. And it takes, what was it, the title here? Great ideas start small. So when you plant those seeds, those ideas will definitely germinate. So we are happy and excited that this is Small Business Week. So our Small Business Council Steering Committee has been extremely busy this week. They've been out visiting other small businesses, even posting that on social media. You probably have seen a post or two. So we are grateful for the sacrifice that they make because they own their own companies, but they choose to serve other businesses as well. May I have all of the steering committees to raise your hand? Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for your leadership. Now, our Small Business Council is led by two phenomenal co-chairs. That will be Meredith Hennessy and Gwendolyn Tucker. So thank you, co-chairs. All right, so this is Small Business Week, and we hope that each one of you are supporting small businesses. How many business owners of a small business do we have in the room today? All right. You all made a decision to cultivate an idea and birth a business, so we take our hats off to you. And 90% of our membership is made up of small businesses, so it's a big deal to us at the Chamber. Now I want to toss the baton over to our co-chair, Meredith Hennessy.
Thank you so much, Patricia. And it's great to be here with all of you this morning. And my job this morning, as Patricia has guided me, is to share all of the very important numbers we have about small business here in Memphis. So before I do that, though, I just want to remind everyone about our Small Business Chamber Council and our commitment to all of you, our members here in the room, or anybody who's thinking about being a member. Our job at the Small Business Council Steering Committee is to advocate, communicate, and educate on behalf of small business. And so we are here to support you. We're in the trenches. We know what life is like. I always say, if there's anything you need, you want to know more about, anything you think we should be doing on your behalf, reach out to any one of us, myself, Gwendolyn, a Small Business Steering Committee member. You know, they raised their hand. They're here to support you. So now on to the numbers. So based on the latest data provided by GMERGE at the Chamber, there are actually over 100,061 small businesses operating in the Memphis MSA. That's actually an increase of nearly 25,000 new small businesses since 2021. That's a remarkable sign of growth, resilience, and entrepreneurial spirit. It's a lot of small businesses. So why does this matter? What does this mean? It isn't just growth, it's momentum. It tells us that even through uncertainty, people are choosing to build, invest, and believe in Memphis. And it doesn't stop there. There are more than 54,000 self-employed individuals across the region, and that represents 8.6% of our entire workforce, meaning entrepreneurship is not just on the sidelines, it's a core driver of our economy. You all matter, we all matter. You are incredibly important to the success of Memphis. And so on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Jeff Kimbrough, one of our amazing sponsors, who understands at iBank. iBank, has been an ongoing supporter of the Small Business Council, really understands how important small business is to our community. So Jeff, take it away.
Thank you, Meredith. And give yourselves a round of applause again for Small Business Week. Independent Bank is, again, small business as well. We're locally owned here in the Memphis community, and we are a huge supporter of small businesses in our community. With that, I'd like to extend the invitation. We're happy to connect with any of you to review whatever is necessary to help your business grow, improve cash flow, whatever it takes to make you better. So by any means, I know there's one other iBanker in the room. If you will, raise your hand. We're here to support you. So if we can, definitely connect with us. Enjoy today's event, and let's talk soon.
All right, thank you. All right, we want to thank our sponsors, Independent Bank, Wyatt, Tarrant & Combe, and Cigna Healthcare. At this time, I want to bring up Gwendolyn Tucker.
Thank you, Patricia, and thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. It's great to see you all. I have the pleasure of introducing our panelists today. So as I would say your name, if you would come forward, please. They're going to share some amazing information with us today. So the moderator really needs no introduction. Duncan, will you come to the front, please? Actually, Duncan is a founding chairman of Duncan Williams Asset Management, an investment advisory firm managing more than $2.5 billion in assets for individuals, businesses, and nonprofits. He also serves as president of Williams Holding Company, which oversees ventures including Hickory Senior Living, operating 22 facilities across the Southeast, and Sunshine Corporation, managing 2,500 apartments in Memphis. Duncan previously served as chair of the board, president of South State, Duncan Williams Securities Corp. He's a busy man and is currently chairman of the board and interim president and CEO of the Greater Memphis Chamber. Talk about not having enough jobs, right? Duncan, we welcome you and thank you for moderating our panel. The next to the stage will be Ms. Dana Pointer. Come on up, Dana. Give her a hand. Preserver Partners is a diverse and woman-owned Memphis investment management firm managing assets for a broad range of institutional clients nationwide, including public retirement plans, foundations, family offices, and corporations. And Memphis-born Dana Pointer, Preserver Partners CEO for the past 3 years, has been there from the beginning. Dana joined Dr. Floyd Tyler as he founded the company in 2009. She served as Chief Operating Officer and Chief Compliance Officer before becoming CEO in January of 2023, unfortunately following the sudden and unexpected death of Dr. Tyler. Dana has spent 3 decades working in finance, compliance, and management roles in the investment industry. You must have started when you were just in middle school. And she was in pre-K, you guys. And next we have coming is Mr. Sly Tate. Where are you, young man? Sorry, I was looking at your dad. Mr. Sly Tate, will you come to the stage, please? Sly Tate is the Chief Operating Officer of Tate Computer Systems, a Memphis native. He earned his bachelor's degree in computer engineering from the University of Pennsylvania, where he also studied engineering entrepreneurship. Before returning to Memphis, Sly spent several years at Microsoft working on major innovations, including Excel Mobile, Bluetooth Mesh, Surface Pen, Your Phone, and Bluetooth LE Audio. Today, he brings those leading industry practices to Tate Computer Systems, where he creates value for clients in sectors ranging from healthcare and logistics to education, government, and small business. And our next panelist, everybody knows her. She's my friend. Dottie, come on up to the stage. Dottie is the founder of Somerville Associates and a dynamic leader in the recruiting industry with over 40 years of experience. And I just want to put a plug in here. She actually wrote the intro for my book, so I really appreciate that. A certified professional consultant, she's earned national recognition for her leadership, including a prestigious ethics award. Beyond her professional success, Dottie has made a lasting impact here in Memphis, serving on the Greater Memphis Chamber Foundation Board, the Society for Information Management Board, the Greater Memphis Labor and Workforce Board, and as a past co-chair of the Small Business Council and past president of the Better Business Bureau of the Mid-South. Welcome our panelists and our moderator, and I will turn it over to Duncan.
Thank you. Well, first, let me say Happy Small Business Week. We are celebrating that at the Chamber. And I know Larry has been putting a lot out on social media, but I would ask you all, celebrate your small business this week and show them to the city. As you know, the good news is out there, and this is a room full of good news. So make sure you're sharing it. Obviously, honored to be here with this illustrious panel, and also want to shout out to Pearson Society of Entrepreneurs, which to join with them is two of my favorite groups, and I'm lucky to be associated with both. So thanks for that. So let's jump into this. I'm going to ask all three of y'all this question, and then we'll kind of go from there. When you hear the phrase "built to last," what does that mean to you personally as a business leader? And we'll just walk this way. Yep.
Built to last, for me, it's all about durability and building a company that sustains, that can endure the ups and the downs. And in my industry, which is the investment industry, you all know where we are today. There's a lot of volatility in the market. There's a lot of noise. And really just from a generic response, I would say really stay the course. Build your business foundation strong, and just build it to be sustainable and to be able to withstand any market, because there's always going to be noise, regardless of what your industry is. There's going to be noise, there's going to be ups and downs, but you have to stay the course and just really building a strong foundation from the beginning.
I agree. And I think the other thing for Built to Last is we need to understand that we need to change. I think most of us small business owners, when we start, we knew exactly what we wanted to do. And I'm so far away from that now. But we listen to our clients, we listen to our staff, and to last, we need to change.
Excellent point.
Thank you, sir.
For me, actually, I think of Jim Collins. I don't know if anyone's ever read that book, Built to Last. It was actually the first book I read when I realized I was joining Take Computer Systems, which is now known as Itonics, which I guess that's a ode to the need to change, right? But at the end of the day, a lot of it was about starting with step one, putting the right people in the right seats, establishing a culture of discipline, really kind of thinking about your journey as a build up to a breakthrough, as opposed to thinking that it's just going to happen overnight, right? And so those are the things that come to mind on that front.
Thank you. All right, Dottie, we'll jump in with you. What was one early decision you made that still impacts your business today?
The day that I started my business, my uncle, who's had a very successful business, said to me, make your banker your best friend. Second part, make your banker your best friend. Make your banker your best friend. And for those of us who have had a wonderful relationship with their banker, they're not just there to take my money and put it in an account and give me 1%. My banker helped me through the ups and the downs and gave me as good advice as every other advisor. So for me, it was that early relationship. And it stood me well through 40-something years of doing this.
Great. Good one. Slide. Coming into a family business, right? So, and I understand that. And so what did you get wrong early on that ended up being a turning point?
I went to school to be an engineer. And you learn a lot of things. And one thing that I had was a hero complex, in the sense of I was going to be the savior for every single division in my company. And it was funny because, you know, I was actually reading my Bible, and I believe in Exodus 18, Moses is currently serving as the overseer for the Israelites in the middle of the wilderness. And his father-in-law comes to him and he sees that he's exhausted. He is tired. And on the other side of that, his father-in-law looks at him and he says, appoint people. And it was after reading this story that I said to myself, hey, maybe I should follow some advice that's been around for a while, right? But it did take a lot of work in order to do that, right? It took re-envisioning our customer journeys, our really the way that we do business in terms of delivering services, not relying on someone being an absolute Swiss Army knife. I mean, honestly, the way that Mr. Tate functioned around this business is absolutely commendable given the number of roles that he took on prior to me getting there. So it wasn't about copying the exact way that he was doing it then. It was about moving to a way of saying, you know, and I think my entire life I had been working towards being, you know, the exact type of business leader that he was, resilient, and, you know, making sure everything happens. But, you know, it took a change or a shift to move to the place where we say, hey, we're going to have these roles and we're not going to ask people to work outside of these roles. We're going to ask them to do exactly their job on a day-to-day basis. And we're going to go find customers who appreciate that.
When you part the Red Sea, let us know. Yeah. I'll be there. I'll be there for that one, my friend. I'll be there. It is great advice, and I would just say from another one who jumped into a family business unexpectedly, and we'll talk about that in a second. But delegation is important. Everybody in this group, you can't do everything, and I have that same put a cape on. So you know, I have a spouse that tells me all the time that you're not Superman as much as you want to be, but just know you need help and use the talent around you because it will make your company a better place for sure. All right, Donna, let's talk about this. I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. So what nearly broke your business, and then how did you recover?
Well, that's a big one. Yeah, you do know the answer. What nearly broke our business, and after 13 years, Floyd and I, which Floyd Preserver was my partner's, that was his baby. And I joined him and we built it together over 13 years. And at that 13th year, you know, we continuously grew. We built a firm. We built the firm to last. And we knew that we brought value to the types of clients that appreciated the investment style and approach that we offered. And there was a place for us. There is a place for us in every portfolio. So we really honed in and found that niche. And we really, from day one, we continuously grew. Every year we went up, up, up. And it's really interesting to look back over 16 years now and see the growth over the years. But at the 13-year mark, he passed away suddenly, very unexpectedly, being the chief investment officer of an investment management firm. So it was a major key person event. And in this industry, we deal with institutional clients who have consultants and advisors. And, you know, it's a, excuse my French, but a CYA business. And so, you know, normally, typically when a key person event happens and, you know, the person that's managing the money passes away, it's an automatic, you know, redemption. So I cannot tell you the value of relationships. The fact that over those 13 years that, you know, I was one of a major face of the business and built those strong relationships with our institutional clients and consultants, as I made the call to inform our clients that, we were going to shut the business down. More times than not, 70% of our clients, said, no, please don't. We have confidence in your ability, and we want to see you stick around if you can. And so those relationships, and that would not have happened if without my transparency. I just came from a conference, and one of the things that I hang my hat on is honesty and transparency with your clients, not just individual clients, because we all are going to make mistakes. We all have issues. There are ups and downs in any company. But when you're transparent and you have a defined path and you communicate that, and your clients trust you because they know you, you can really survive, especially if your product is, you're putting you have a quality product, and so really the relationships and the transparency and the honesty communication and that just hustle is how we survive. So that I said all that to say, never discount building strong relationships and and having a firm with integrity. Integrity carries you a long way, and it's why we're still standing, and we're actually growing again after 3 years of that event.
Thank you. I got the answer right. I got the question right. I knew the answer. How about that? Culture is a huge thing, and you just mentioned it. For all of us, even in the small business world, you got to have a culture. And so at Duncan-Williams Asset Management, our culture is serve our clients, which obviously we have to do, but also improve our community. And one of the expectations is we want our employees, and Savannah can say this, we encourage our employees heavily to be involved with at least 3 nonprofits in this city. So if you just look at our company alone, that'd be close to 100 nonprofits that we're touching and give them space to do that. So I would ask all 3 of y'all, and so I'll start with you. What do you protect at all costs in your company culture?
I would say our core values. Every week we meet to literally walk through them. And I actually reward the people on my team who have memorized them. They're to always do the right thing, give superior customer service, deliver a wow experience, never stop improving, be accountable, be honest, be open-minded, be humble, be reliable, and have a passion for what you do. Right. And I memorized them first. Right. Because it started with me. And I said to myself, how can we act out the things that we don't even remember, right? And so I had to write them on the tablet of my heart so that when I am operating, I remember to use these sets of things. And, it's a bit corny. I'll tell you, like sometimes I sit there and I say, why would we do this every week? And it's funny because at the end we just artificially clap, right? But at the end of the day, one of the more important things, and there's this basketball experiment, if I may go on a quick story, but there's this basketball experiment where they took a group of guys and they had them practice shooting free throws every day. And then they took a separate group from the same team and they had them sit and think about shooting free throws for the same amount of time that the other team was practicing. And it turned out that they actually executed at the same level, right, on the other side of that test. And, one of the more important things for us is to make sure that we've gone through the necessary repetition to know what our core values are so that when those pressurized situations come about, it's automatic, right? When there's an opportunity for us to, just rush a customer along, it's no, I got to give superior customer service, right? And when there's an opportunity for us to just do the day-to-day business and not focus so much on training because we know so much already that our customers don't know, it's no, never stop improving, right? And so those things, really resonate with my team, my culture, and I think a lot of us have benefited well from that.
So let's stay in the Bible world. That's your 10 Commandments. That's your coming down. That's your stone tablets. All right. And we all need our company 10 Commandments, I would say. All right. I'd love to hear from you two ladies too on that. What do you protect at all costs in your company culture? Dottie?
For us, when we started, we had a mission, vision, goals. We all had them. We can memorize them. We can talk about them. For me, that culture, the last one was that we have fun, which we must do. I think for those of us who show up every day and go to work, if you can't giggle with your workmates about something and celebrate together, but we honored each other and we honored the truth. The absolute truth between us as coworkers and with our clients. After doing this for over 40 years, I can happily say that none of my team ever did anything but tell the truth to a client, good truth or bad truth. And that has steadied us through all the ups and downs.
For Preserver, I've always valued team building, a collaborative environment, but most of all, psychological safety for all of our team. With a team, you have to, in order to be successful, in my opinion, and what has worked for us is for everyone to feel empowered to raise their hand when whether it be something that's going wrong or something that they think's going right, or it creates an environment for everyone to give input without, feeling like they'll be reprimanded or, it would negatively impact their future at the company. Everyone needs to feel empowered to speak up, and no matter how much it hurts, if it steps on my toes, there's no you can't tell me that because I'm your boss. That's not the culture that we have, because I don't think that you don't have successful growth that way, for me and our team at least. So everyone needs to feel empowered to really be honest and have that psychological safety.
Perfect. Thank y'all. All three again. So we'll start with you, Donna. How has your definition of success changed over time?
When we first began, my definition of success was all about the revenue, the bottom line, and really about just having a business that could constantly rise. And as time, and I think this has a lot to do with age, also my age, as time has gone on, and obviously the revenue, the bottom line is big, important. But it's more about building something that will last and sustainable long after I'm gone. And just really building a quality company where it offers a place for really talented people with a great skill set to work, and especially in Memphis. When we decided to start this firm in Memphis, people thought we were crazy because it's not the typical place for asset management. We have financial advisory firms and accounting firms and even broker dealers, but asset management is just not, it's mostly, New York and Chicago. And so people say, you'll never get business, you're in Memphis. But really, we are proving that you can build a company, and our smart, young, talented scholars can have a place to come and work. So that's what success is to me. It's not just about, how much AUM we can gain and how much money we can make. It's really about building something sustainable, something that lasts and that has a legacy long after, I'm retired over there with Jim, as he says.
I think for a lot of us, success on day one was, what can I sell? That big top line. What can I sell? And thanks to my banker and my CPA, they said, that thing at the bottom that's called the bottom line? Are you making any profit? So when I finally understood that, and years later, you build a team and the success comes. For me personally, success came when I could walk away, take a 3-week trip, and know that when I came back, the wheels had not fallen off the rails, which was really kind of exciting, y'all. And it's kind of scary. Turn your phone off, go away for 3 weeks and not look back. My poor husband goes, aren't you going to look? Not going to look. Not going to look. But for me, that was success. So the business was successful and it could go on. That was my big measure.
That's huge.
It is huge.
Looking forward to that.
Your dad does it now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For me, may I go back to my hero complex? I think one of the things I measure myself by now is the success of the individuals that I'm coaching, right? the other people in my organization, seeing their careers progress within our own company is what matters to me. And it's always mattered to me, but it's really what I hang my hat on at this point, because if they're not growing, then we're not growing, right? Because over time, you know, there will be more and more demand for the services that we offer. And to me, in order for us to scale, we've got to see the other individuals within the company who are manning their posts grow, become the best possible human being that they can. I really admire, I'm going to steal that nonprofit idea.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really important to think about, even for me, it was like, it's not just about getting the execution. It's also about making it an enjoyable place to work.
Yep.
Right. And sometimes I can't offer the perfect, you know, charity type of moment inside of the company where we donate a bunch of funds to whoever else. But what does it look like for us to donate time and encourage other people to do that? Right. I think that's a beautiful way of thinking about how we can improve our people. But in general, you know, for me, it's that coaching aspect, not overlooking the one-on-ones, not loathing them, not thinking about them as a waste of time, right? But really thinking about, okay, how are you personally? Where can I be of assistance to you to help you, you know, reach the next level? Where can I remove blockers that'll allow you to be all that you need to be?
Awesome. All right, last one. I know then we got moderator coming up, and this is just a quick, probably one word or one sentence. Or Dottie, one paragraph, whatever you want to do. I'll let you go, but
One word.
one word, one sentence, one paragraph, whatever. So finish this sentence for me. A business that lasts is one that never stops. Yeah, go.
Listening to their clients' needs.
Wow.
Serving.
Changing.
Great word. All right, we good? I think we got you coming up to join us again. And what are we doing now? A little exercise? Okay, all right. Can I, before we start that, can we give these guys and gals a round of applause? What an awesome group.
But when it works.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. You guys have done an amazing job. Give them another hand. So this is time for audience participation. They've shared so much with us. We have asked them to go just a little bit deeper, and then we're going to ask you guys at your tables to, I hope you have introduced yourselves to everyone at your table, because you're going to work as a team. They get a chance to practice working as a team at your table. You will notice that at your table you have letters A and B. Does everyone have an A and a B? Okay, A and a B. So we have asked our panelists and Duncan, we've asked them to share a situation or scenario that was a major decision that they had to make in their business. And so basically, they're going to share with you the situation, and then they're going to also offer to you the options that they have to choose from. At your table, you're going to come up with which one you think they chose. Will it be A or B? Okay. So who wants to go first? Dottie doesn't want to go first. So Dottie's going to share her scenario, and then you guys are going to talk among your table, which do you think she chose? And then she's going to come back with some more information. Dottie?
So for those of you who don't know, I've been in the staffing business for longer than most of you have been alive. So a client was referred to us, brand new to Memphis, very prominent, great name recognition, to handle a search for them. And it was one that my staff, we had done many times before, very, very successfully. Well, I mean, it was like shooting blanks. We could not find a soul that this person wanted, working directly with the president of the company. Part of the problem was he kept changing the specs, and it was difficult. We had a signed contract, and it was hard. So we sat down as a team, and we had two choices. Dottie, go back and talk to him, refine the specs, and we'll give it another good try. Or sever the relationship.
So among your table, ask you to share which choice did she make? Was it A, to go back and talk with him, or B, to sever the relationship? A or B?
So, this is good.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Hold up your letter. Which one did you choose? Which one did you choose? So we have a number of A's and we also have some B's. Dottie, will you share with us your decision and the thinking behind your decision making?
It was B. So we were all wasting our time, and time is money in everything you do. So the latter part of that meeting, my staff said to me, "Why don't you just drive up there and fire him?" And I went, "Okay." So I called the company, made an appointment with the president, drove my 3, 4, 5 hours up to see him, ushered into the conference room. And after 25 minutes, I went, "This is the right decision." So this pompous comes in his conference room and he said, "So why are you here?" 35 minutes later. And I said, "Sir, you're not happy with our performance. My staff is unable to fulfill your needs. I think we need to end our contract." And he said 2 words to me, "Wait here." And he left. And 10 minutes later, this nice young lady knocks on the door and she said, "Are you Dottie Summerfield?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Did you really drive up here to fire us?" I said, "Yes." Pardon my French. She said, "Honey, you got a pair. You know what's on you." Nobody has ever done this to this man. So we went in her office and we talked for 15 minutes and I left with her resume, which was really even more funny. No, but she wore it out so badly. So it was literally time to listen to my staff. They literally said, "Please go fire this. We are wasting time. We are wasting money. We could be doing things that we're successful at." So it was almost fun to do.
Yeah. Thank you, Dottie. Thank you so much. Who wants to go next? You want to go next?
Yeah.
Excellent storyteller, man. So our scenario. So we do some work for companies that provide proprietary equipment for vending. These machines are not well known. However, when you think about fixing them, it all relies on the company that provides them to tell us how to fix them. Otherwise, you're kind of inventing, different ways to help them solve their own problems. So after many, many years of doing this, we got to a point where there had been some machines that were rolled out that really didn't come with many instructions. We take pride in our SLAs, but to be honest with you, our SLAs were actually staying at the level that they needed to be. We were visiting all of the locations that we needed to visit, getting the machine back up and running, but we had to make a lot of repeat visits. It came to a point where some of the customers started to complain and the finger was pointed at us. So there were 2 options for us at that point. So either we could use this really cool invention that they call artificial intelligence. Anybody heard of that? And take their user manuals and create a training program that we could use internally and that we could also sell back to the company. Alternatively, we could beg, or really just ask, that their trainer provide us with materials to ultimately continue to deliver the work. But over the past 10 years, we had not seen any evidence of any new training. So what do you think we chose? Option A or option B?
talk among yourselves at your table and select either A or B. What do you think they did? So,
Ah, yeah, I was.
okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey,
Is that cheating over there?
So everyone except Mr. Tate is wrong.
that's some inside information, I think.
So we're an intelligence engineering company. We help human intelligence and artificial intelligence work together to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve. That's what Itonics does. However, there are cases where the most powerful technology in the world is not a good option for how to improve the relationship with the people that you have to work with. So what we cared about in that moment was getting buy-in from that company to commit to making sure that they understood their own systems and the limitations that we run into. And so our actual point of contact sat through the training with us, and they could see the problems that were coming up. There was an issue that was plaguing us that we knew was they weren't giving us good advice on, but we wanted them to see it during that training, right? And actually answer the questions and hear the trainer say to our point of contact, hey, that's not the way you fix that, right? Or, hey, you need to give them this equipment in order for you to get what you need to get done. And so in this case, while it is great to make use of great technologies to do things, sometimes there are extraneous factors that come into play that allow you to gain the necessary leverage and build trust, right, with the client. And that was really important for us, especially when we talk about building something to last. And so on the other side of that, we had an 88-week streak of meeting our SLAs at 99% or
Wow.
No.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Excellent. Who wants to go next?
Okay.
Dana?
Okay, so you know the story about my partner passing away suddenly. And for the first 6 years of Preserver, our principal core business was institutional investments for pension plans, foundations and endowments, corporate institutional clients. Around 2016, we saw a need in our community and our friends and family and just individuals in general that did not have access to the type of investments that we invest in. And so it was more of a passion project for us and more of a, especially for Floyd and I both, we really wanted to be able to offer the type of investments that we offer to institutional clients, to investors. However, our minimums were really high, so we created a mutual fund. We created a mutual fund in 2016. We had about $33 million of individual money in there, lots of friends and family and just word of mouth. Even some children actually invested their summer money in these funds. And it was really significant to us as a firm because we were offering something to individuals that didn't have access, that could come to our office, sit across the table and look at someone that looks just like them, investing their money, where they can call a number and it's not an 800 number, speaking to someone they don't know. So we had this mutual fund, which is not a huge revenue producer for us, but it was really, it really satisfied a need and it filled a gap that we thought in our community and for individuals. So Floyd passes away. I had to really take a hard look at the path of the firm. The mutual fund, it was, anytime you deal with institutions, they're savvy, sophisticated investors. They don't call you when the market's going crazy. We can, invest those funds, do what we do, and we don't have a lot of hand holding. With individuals, as you can imagine, there's a lot of hand holding. It takes a lot of time to really focus on those investments and, help investors fill out their applications and open their accounts and those types of things. So I was faced with the decision. We're capacity constrained at this point, looking at resources that it takes, because we were subsidizing this mutual fund. It was producing some revenue, but we wanted to keep the fees low. So we did have some times where we would actually have to pay to keep this open, which was fine for us. Because the 90% of our revenue, 95% of our revenue came from our core business. So I was faced with the decision, do we put all of our resources to the clients that decided to stay with us, because we did lose 30% of our business, and we need to, and I've built the confidence there. They know that there's capacity and we're focused on our core business. Do we continue to stretch our team thin and handhold these retail investors and continue really, really focused on our core business? Because we were capacity constrained, and the resources were fewer at this point to keep this mutual fund open. So the decision was, do we abandon the mutual fund, disappoint all of these people that we've, from 2016 on, we're like, we're here, we're a preserver, we're here, we're going to offer you the opportunity to have an investment account and, have these nice returns, and have them face the decision of, okay, now what do I do with this money that I get back? Or do we focus on the business, our core value? I'm sorry, you begged me. Okay, so my time is up. So do we shut the mutual fund down and focus on our core business, or do we stretch ourselves thin and really satisfy and keep that passion project going?
Okay. All right.
So A is close the mutual fund, focus on our core business, or B, keep them both open.
Okay. All right. Take a few seconds among your table. What do you think she selected, A or B?
No. C'est bien, on peut essayer.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you think she did?
Wow.
Bingo.
Those that chose A are correct. Yes. Lots of tears, but it turns out, I thought that, everyone would just die because we were closing the mutual fund, but we really had to focus on our core business. And I felt that if we got that back to where it belonged, back to where it needed to be, we could always revisit it. But it turns out people were okay. They're like, okay, send me my money back. So there was a lot of stress and angst over, so we had to make the best decision for the company.
Thank you. Thank you. Duncan, I know, Duncan, you have an example for us as well. Is that correct?
I didn't know I was playing the game. I think, the panel's touched on a lot. I think personnel problems are always kind of the one that's hard. I'm going to maybe do it a little different. We'll take a little, whatever I'm called, privilege. Yeah. I would tell you the small business, selling your business is one of the hardest decisions you'll ever make. My father started Duncan Williams, Inc. in 1969. I was literally 1 year old. So I grew up in that business. In 1989, he passes away. My mom and other leaders stepped up and ran it while I finished college, worked in Birmingham, came back into Memphis, 93, 94, worked and became president in 2000. So in 2021, in the middle of COVID, a big national bank comes in and decides they want to get in the business. And it was one of those moments of, am I going to sell something my father started, my mom ran, I've been running for 20 plus years. That's a big part of this community that loves to give the community, knowing that when a big national bank comes in that really don't have a presence here, a lot is going to change. The giving can change. And so we had also spun out Duncan Williams Asset Management, so it was a nice fallback. But I will tell you that just anything other than your family, the business, y'all feel it every day. The businesses y'all are in, the business you run, it's the closest thing to a child outside of having a child, right? And so when you go to sell that, you feel like you're selling your child, or you feel like you're letting the employees down. And there was a lot of prayer, there was a lot of tears, there were a lot of angst, but ultimately I knew that business was changing, and it was changing in a way that it was going to take so much investment to keep up with the big boys in technology and in security and in compliance and et cetera, that the best thing to do for the people who were working there actually was to sell it. And that goes back to the superhero thing, to think, oh, well, they're really going to suffer with I'm not running this company. Well, they've been just fine. They've been good, right? They're doing well. But what I would tell you is enjoy every single moment that you're with your company and you're with your child, because it can go away. And a lot of small businesses in this room in 20 years that they'll transact some way or another. So just enjoy the day you have with your company is what I would say.
Wonderful. Give them a hand, y'all. This was really awesome. And the reason what we wanted to do was for you to see the critical thinking, the decision making, and especially that timely decision making in terms of what goes into decisions you face in your business, some small, some large, as they talked about. So I want to thank you so very much for sharing your insights and your wisdom. And I know that Duncan is going to take over this piece to handle Q&A. So we're going to open the floor for Q&A. So Duncan, we're giving you another job.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Let's see some hands in the air. Do we have any questions for this great panel? There we go. Oh, we get one. I'll get you in a minute, Chris. Introduction.
Okay. Hey, how y'all doing? Oh, God, that's pretty loud. So, as a Memphis-made entrepreneur, someone who loves the city, how can I continue to bring exposure as well as build something to last for my communities? Thank you.
Go ahead. Y'all go.
Well, you started here this morning, which was the smart thing to do. Literally, before you all leave, if you haven't reached in your backpack or to your purse to start passing out business cards to people that are important to you, Janet can explain how to do that. Spend your time networking. I think all of us in our path to where we are today didn't just stay focused on inside our company. Find some peers that are just like you, starting your businesses. Form a small group. I've been lucky enough for the past 20 years to meet every single month with 3 other female business owners. Our businesses are very different, but we have helped ourselves through good times and bad times and personal times. But find a peer, get a peer network together, and start talking amongst yourselves, because what affects you as a startup affected every single one of us. Reach out, call us. We're all happy to give advice. But this city, Pearson left from the Society of Entrepreneurs. There is something in the water about business startups in this city. Right, Duncan?
Amen. Amen.
So you started by coming to a great meeting this morning. So thank you for being here.
And I'm going to brag on him a little bit. After the last Small Business Council, he reached out. He's been to my office twice now and is asking the question. So I think everybody should understand this community wants to help, and but you got to ask for the help, and it'll come there. So thanks for asking another question. Chris? You got it?
Thanks. Christopher Tabor Photography. My question is, what lesson took you entirely too long to learn?
Yeah, go. You ready?
One lesson, and Sly mentioned this, that I can't do everything. I had that complex. If I want it done right, just do it myself. And it took executive coaching. Literally, I spent my whole career working that way, just being a worker bee, just working, having my hands in every piece of the business. And that is not sustainable. It's not smart. So it took me probably 25 years too long to figure out that other people probably can do it better. Not probably, they can. Yeah. And I can't do everything. So I think it's building a great team around you if you're able to, but you can't do everything. So
Well, you want to get it?
One of the things for us is every customer, no matter how big they are, it's not a great customer. I think Dottie spoke to that. And, at the end of the day, I absolutely love the customers. I love selling, but if it's not a mutually beneficial relationship, then we shouldn't be in it. Right. And so that was probably one where I've held on to, certain relationships that, it just makes more sense for us to move in a different direction. Right. And so that would be the one for me.
I said all money ain't good money.
All money is not good money, especially when they write terms in that are not.
I think the turning point for a lot of us, and it's kind of, we have to learn to work on the business and not in the business. And that's a real hard change because we started the business because we love it and we want to do it. We want to be in the business. But to move it forward, you got to learn to step back and work on it.
Great point. Yes?
Good morning. So first,
Sorry. Good morning. I'm Ayule Arnett. First of all, thank you all so much. I've heard all of you speak except for you, and I really enjoyed your presentation this morning. You spoke about something earlier about passion projects. Our company, glory be to God, is going to be 8 years old next week. So I'm very excited and just ultra excited about continuing my relationship with, of course, the Greater Memphis Chamber. But you talked about a passion project, and I think that my company is to a point, or at least I'm to a point, where I'm ready to start really investing in Memphis. And there's a project that I'm getting ready to get off the ground. It's not necessarily revenue generating, but it's something that's within the capacity of what we do with logistics. And I have the people, I have the equipment, all the resources in place to really start doing something that benefits Memphis intensely. So do you all have any ideas or any suggestions for a small early stage company that wants to do something that really impacts Memphis and some of the things that you guys did when you set up your own passion projects? Thank you.
I'll give advice is to dive in. I'm all about passion projects. We created a foundation because we wanted to be able to give back to the community, and actually the firm providing the sources for that. So I think also partnering with other, whether it be nonprofits or other corporations, to help you extend that passion that you have to the community. I think that it's important to get partners. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also really important to operate with intention around that. A lot of people might consider it to be selfish in some ways, but you have to make sure that you've worked on yourself well enough before you can help somebody else. And so, putting that intention behind, saying to yourself, hey, the things that I'm working on, my core business is rolling. It sounds like you've done that already, right? And that 8 years was the setup or that build up for the breakthrough, which is you spending more time on the things that matter most to you. And so, being patient with yourself to make sure you get to that point before you start putting, your eggs in multiple baskets, right, is probably the most important thing. And, just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean it's just going to come together, right? I can think of a couple of scenarios where, and this actually happened to me this week. Every year we run an intern program working with Employ. And each year it will become Sly's job to come up with what the intern is doing. And I looked at that and I said, well, I don't get to spend as much time as I would like to with each individual each year. And so this year we're actually having a pitch competition for each department. And when everyone comes in, each department lead will say, hey, here's what my department does. Here's a 6-week project that I have to do in our department. And, can you help, right? Or you pick which one you want to be in, right? And so democratizing the workload actually ended up being the better way. And they were like, yeah, I'm so excited. Like, what am I going to do, right? And for me, it was always a taxing thing. Now it's something that, the company is really excited about, right? Cool.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the passion products, right? And but there's also people, I don't know what the project is, but there's probably people in the community doing something like it. Go meet with those people. Find out where they messed up at the beginning, or what's been their strength, or where's the hole, right? Where's the space that we really need in this city that it has to do around that, and then go plug yourself in. Yes, ma'am, Meredith. I got
Part of that, yeah. Thank you all so much. Always great to hear the stories and understand the journey. But tying, so Meredith Hennessy, Consilience Group business owner and co-chair of Small Business Council Steering Committee. But thinking about sort of the opportunity, I mean, both, all of you raised, really choosing to start your business, grow your business here in Memphis. And it's a little bit tied to, I think, this conversation around Passion Project, but going back to the numbers, there's so many small businesses here in the community. And just from your wisdom and your learnings around, along your journey, what are ways that all of us in this room, it doesn't have to be a passion project necessarily, but do you see opportunities to invest in the city? And because I just think for every one of those 161,000 small businesses, if each of us did one small thing in an intentional way, how would that strengthen our city? And what are our opportunities, do you from your perspective?
Y'all look at me first, thanks. We all have 3 things to give: time, talent, and treasure. So, yes, as a former chair of the Small Business Council Steering Committee, my big passion, and you all knew it, was if every small business in this city could hire one person, what could we do? So that's been me reaching out to small businesses and how we can grow. But you need to take a look at your own passion and figure out where you can plug in your time, your talent, or treasure. And all of us can't start a not-for-profit. All of us can't volunteer for 5 things like some of us do. But find it. We have all so much to give to each other and to give to this city. We love our city and we know it's great, but we have to continue to help make it that way. So that's for me.
Kind of echo the same. Find places where if you're passionate about that, you can give back. Specific, whether it be in your industry or your expertise area. So that's, or even serve on boards that are doing impactful work, and those are the kind of the typical things.
Yeah, for and maybe I'll have a selfish play at this one. One of the more important things that I don't think a lot of us realize is how valuable it is to work with other people who are sitting right next to you. And when I think about that, we'll do a quick example. How many of you use Microsoft in your day-to-day work? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. Keep your hands up. Raise your hand if you use Adobe. Raise your hand if you use a computer. Okay. Now keep them up. Keep them up. Put your hand down if you used a local provider to purchase it.
I guess the local Apple doesn't count, does it?
All right. So people with their hand down have used a local provider to purchase it. Okay. right? So this is what matters, right? And you can use Itonics, of course, but at the end of the day, our ability to recycle funds through our community is our economic power.
Yep.
And it is super important that we think about, and I know, like, in some ways, there's this little thing that, and I'm just going to be honest with you, there's this little thing that says, and it's something that Dana pointed to, why would I use a company in Memphis? Don't they do it better elsewhere? Right. And you have to combat that. And a lot of that just starts with getting to know the people that are here who if you spend time talking with the person, you'll realize that they are just as passionate, just as gritty, just as hungry, and even more important to your story than what you might think initially. Right. So
You just jumped. Oops.
Yeah.
You just jumped all over Duncan's watchword. Buy local.
Yeah. And I think, once again, for the shameless plug, I think y'all have all heard me say for Memphis, right? What are we doing for Memphis? It's kind of as my chairmanship rolls, that's how we're going to do it. And I think it's the question is, what are you doing for Memphis? Not what is Memphis doing for you? What are you doing for Memphis? And I think that's one way to figure it out.
And if I might add, one of the other things too is remembering to recommend the services of the other people around you. Because even if you can't use it, there's someone somewhere else who can, and that export ability is absolutely huge. Just having that referral. We built our business on referral. And we literally did not have a marketing department for at least 50% of the company's history, right? And it was immensely helpful for those who said, hey, why didn't you go and get that? Or take it to Tate is what they used to say, right? But you know, it mattered a lot to have the word of someone else serve in that capacity.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, sir. So, is it on? As a small business owner, I'm going to ask Sly about this because his father's here. And we transition from father to son or daughter to father. What are some of the challenges that you face, some of the fun things that you face, and talk about moving out of a business and letting your son, daughter, whoever is going to take over the business.
Yeah, I think there's multiple.
Excuse me. I'd like for your father to tell the truth.
Do you want to give him the mic? Or? You know, I've dreamed of working for this business since I was 13 years old. And that was after looking on the back of my Xbox and seeing the words Microsoft and knowing that my dad worked with them too. And so I had set a goal at that point in time to go and work for Microsoft. And then I was going to steal a bunch of secrets and bring them back to Memphis. And it is exactly what I did. I came back sooner than I expected. And some of that was driven just by life events that were happening during that time. And, you know, on the other side of that, there were a couple of key things. My father had built a business that was strong enough to sustain, you know, my expected income or what I demanded on the other side of that. So having enough respect for me as a son to make sure that I wasn't making a sacrifice coming back into the business meant a lot to me. On the other side of that as well was paying special attention to the details. There are some things that I have words for that my father does not. And I have to have grace. He has had grace with me because in a lot of cases, I have these big extravagant ideas and ultimately he'll look at me and say, well, what are we doing tomorrow? Right. And that's pulling me into that commitment to say, hey, you know, it's not just we're going to do everything well. We need to be committed to something. Right. And being honest with ourselves about in those conversations is really, really important. You know, he has high standards. right? And a lot of that comes from this military background. And I have to make sure that I'm carrying that tenet forward and not just thinking just because we've got AI, everything is just going to work out itself. It takes intention. It takes planning. It takes doing an offsite for 2-3 days, even when, he could be on vacation, right? Making sure that he came and supported that activity, right, was really important as well, right? And so, in a number of ways, I don't necessarily recommend this journey for everyone, to be honest with you, because it requires a lot of honesty and hard conversations with your parent. If you don't have that relationship where, you can treat them with the level of professionalism that's required, I wouldn't advise it. Right. And I wouldn't encourage you to advise your child to come in there. But when I go in that office, that's Mr. Tate. That's not, my dad who I'm hoping will give me something or what have you. It's Mr. Tate. Right. And that level of respect, I think, has carried me into a place where, we are operating in the way that we need to, and not just, happy to be working together.
I saw you say no, Sylvester. Very much.
Okay, one more question.
Larry Robinson, CEO and founder of Kazukian. I have one question and one question for Mr. Chairman, Mr. Multiple Job, Mr. Duncan Williams. You named off, Gwen named off about 5 roles you're currently serving in right now. How in the world do you manage your time, your energy, and your mental capacity? How are you able to be mentally nimble to be present in each one of those roles as you're serving at this time?
So passion, right? This is my passion, this city, this chamber, this group of people. It is an honor to be able to serve as chairman, but also to be asked to step into the role as interim president. The staff and the team at the chamber, and y'all know this because you're here, it is incredible. My job is to keep that on the rails, right? It's to make sure we're giving them the support they need all the time. The team does not work for the board. The board works for the team. And we make sure that message is very clear to everybody. Every team meeting we have, I make sure that message is clear. Now, go to the business, my other day job, Savannah would say the same thing. Every week we have a team meeting, and every week I say to them, you don't work for me, I work for you. So I think the most important thing we can do is give support to people. But Larry, if you don't have a passion for it, right, you can't do it. And I love the city. I love the people in this city. And if I can just do a little bit, then that's great. And it's also, having 3 children, it's also about making sure they want to come back to our city. I've said it publicly, and I'll continue to say it. Our children are the most important asset this city has. And if we don't teach them, train them, educate them, and make sure we're sharing the knowledge that they can succeed in this city, then Memphis will always kind of be where we are. We will spin our wheels. And I think that's something that now I can help influence. It's important for the business community to be out in the community. And you know this, but I have been to Fraser twice at meetings. I've been to Westwood. I've been to Orange Mound. I'm going, like this chamber right now is going to go to the community, and we're going to meet the community on their turf, and we're going to learn what we need to do. So you can tell that's a passion for me. So the other way that you can do it is you better have really good people around you supporting you. And I'm blessed to have great leadership at all the companies. My mom is still living and still comes to the office 3 days a week. And so I say I'm still on allowance, right? I mean, that's kind of the way I roll. But At the chamber's the same way. I mean, the team is giving me everything I need. I'm so blessed to be here this morning. I'm speaking at a women's rental greaseback thing tonight, just talking about the city. So I have the time and to spend on the city that I love and that everybody here loves. So I don't know that there's a way. I would tell you this. My wife made sure that interim was in front of any time I say president. So that's one way to it. Anyway, that was a long way to say, I can't explain it. It's a passion for me. I love this city. And so to be able to step into this role for however long that is and provide that energy, then I'm going to do it for sure. Yeah. Oh.
I just kind of want to piggyback off the question that Charles asked, since he wanted to put me on the spot this morning. Charles, what is happening in our company was very intentional. And so I was so willing to give up my office because the transition required him to be present. You know, I wanted him to come in with new ideas. Our industry is different. It changes rapidly. You know, we started off doing typewriters, calculators, and cash registers. So now we're doing cloud-based things. We in AI, we doing this. With his experience coming from Microsoft, I knew I had to step out of the way and let him drive the next generation of what's going to happen in Itonics. And so it was very easy for me to, he liked to do all the sexy stuff. The only part that I need him to understand is the infrastructure things. You know, we own the building. We got to keep the grass cut. We got to do this. There's so many other pieces to the business than day-to-day operation. You know, we got to make sure our tenant is taken care of next door. So, but I was ready for this. 37 years, doing this was, it's just time for me to give up the ring. So I don't even go into the office anymore. I've given him my office but I'm connected. Thank you.
I think from now on, he's going to be known as Sexy Sly, is what I just heard.
I like that. Sexy Sly.
Jot that down for the next panel he's on. We may have theme music, the whole thing.
So, yeah, you can share that with your wife. Okay, so we just want to thank all of our panelists and our moderator. Just give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at that, great.
And thank you all for attending Built to Last. And remember, yes, this is Small Business Week, but every day is a time to support small businesses. So we thank our sponsors, Independent Bank, Wyatt, Tarrant & Combs, and Cigna Healthcare. I also want to remind you that each time I send out an email that has a survey in it, your voice matters. Just last week, we had an event that really came from what you wanted. So continue to let your voice be heard with that quick survey. It takes less than 2 minutes. So please do complete that. And we have our mid-year Chairman's Forum that's coming up on the 10th. Is that correct? 9th, thank you. On the 9th of June, that's going to be at Guest House at Graceland, 3:30. Okay, so make sure that you go ahead and register for that and any of our events that we have coming up. But you have a few minutes left to meet someone that you don't know. So please continue to network, and thank you so much for coming.